Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler, meteorologist Carmela Latuca in the 1011 Now streaming studio. I hope everyone is having a nice Friday morning. We're going to be breaking down your Memorial Day weekend forecast. Carmela, we don't have great news.
I don't even know if we have good news. I mean, we have some good news. We have some rain, and we definitely need the moisture, but we don't have, temperatures closer to average. We don't have a lot of sunshine, so you take the good with the bad, right?
Yeah, again, it is kind of just crap timing with it coming over the holiday weekend. I know one of my good friends, they're taking their camper out to Wagon Train, and she's, calling me what is going to rain. It's not going to be a washout.
No, it's not going to be a washout. I mean, when we're all said and done, by the time we get to end of day Monday, half an inch of rain, I think we'd be pretty fortunate to get, maybe a little bit more than that. So it's definitely not going to be a washout. It's going to be on and off showers, similar to what we're expecting out there today. I know we were just looking at the camera in York, and wet pavement all over the place, but I don't think it started raining here in the capital city yet. But just on and off showers and storms, and maybe even a little bit of severe weather out to the west today. Yeah.
And so again, kind of jumping in here, starting off with a look at the Lincoln Weather Almanac numbers from yesterday: 70 and 44. The 70 we had yesterday, probably the warmest we're going to be for at least a few days.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a bit below normal for our temperatures. The 44 yesterday also, a little bit on the cooler side.
I would consider it chilly. I mean, when the average low is 54 and you're 44 and there's even a slight breeze, it's not going to feel great in the morning.
You were the same distance away from your normal low as you were from your record low. So, I mean, you're...
Yes.
So probably falls in there into the chilly category. Again, also no rain yesterday. 2.5 inches for the month. We saw the rain this weekend, Carmelo,
right,
which was super great. But like you said, we still need more. We're still almost 4 inches below normal. By the time we get to Monday or Tuesday, if we didn't have any rain, we would be more than 4 inches below normal. So
it's incredible.
I know. Again. Especially in May, like you're averaging maybe 0.2 of an inch of moisture a day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go a week with nothing, that's basically an inch and a half below normal for that week. So we added up pretty quickly in the month of May, our wettest month of the year, climatologically speaking, for us here in Lincoln. So the weather headlines, or Carmelo's comments, as he likes to call them: cloudy, rainy through the weekend, well below average temperatures. Seeing the warmer weather return as we head towards the beginning of meteorological summer.
Yes, I think by the time we get to June 1st, we'll start to see above average temperatures, or at least we're forecasting above average temperatures. But I mean, I think we have to realize that through like the first half of the month of May,
it was really warm.
It was really warm. We only had one below average day. We saw, I think, a couple days in the 90s, and now we're basically reversing that.
Yep.
So I really like to see by the end of the month, where does this May stand temperature-wise?
Probably going to be
balanced,
pretty close to normal.
Probably drier than normal, but pretty balanced. So
any one day is usually, I would say any one day is usually pretty far away from what normal is, but by the time you add it all up by the end of the month, it all kind of comes out in the wash.
Exactly.
So Mother Nature's going to do what Mother Nature's going to do. Low temperatures this morning across the state, not quite as chilly as they were yesterday morning. Again, you had a couple spots at or below freezing yesterday morning in the Panhandle, but it was upper 30s to upper 40s across the state. 45 here at the Lincoln Airport, 48 in Grand Island, 49 in North Platte. And on the Tempest weather stations, again, generally in the 40s to close to 50 degrees for low temperatures here in the Lincoln Metro. Right now, though, again, Carmela, you mentioned seeing some rain in York, seeing some rain on the Skyview camera there in Grand Island. Also, you can see maybe a break or two in the clouds here or there, but a lot of cloud cover, and unfortunately going to kind of stay that way through the weekend.
I think if we get any breaks in the clouds today, it's going to be out to the west, where the air becomes to be a little bit more unstable, create those thunderstorms. So kind of seen a little bit in the breaks and out towards North Platte, but yeah, mostly cloudy, kind of just dreary kind of day. It feels more like a Sunday than it does a Friday afternoon or a Friday morning.
Yeah, and again, still has that very much early spring feeling. Like if this was like early March, we'd probably be like, hey, this is actually
we'll take it.
This isn't too bad. But upper 50s as we approach the 10 o'clock hour. Light south wind. Dew point still pretty comfortable here in Lincoln. Temperatures on the Tempest stations are in the upper 50s to right around 60 degrees. Temperatures across the state, upper 40s to upper 50s. Dew points still pretty comfortable out there. Really haven't seen a whole lot of humidity yet this May.
No, I think we've had one day, maybe a couple, where the dew point got above 60. So, I mean, that's not terrible. I think once we push 65 to 70, that's when we start to feel a little bit more uncomfortable out there.
And again, relatively speaking, the forecast as we head through the last week or so of May still doesn't look like you'll see much in the way of a whole lot of humidity. Winds aren't too bad. They're not expected to be too bad through the day today. Again, a little breezy out and across the western third of the state. South-southeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in those areas. But for the most part, I don't think we're going to be dealing with a whole lot of wind as we head through the day today. Satellite radar picture, Carmelo, this is where we're seeing. Again, we had some showers, thunderstorms late last night across parts of the west. Those kind of spread across the state as we kind of had expected them to into this morning.
They have slowly matriculated from western Nebraska through this morning. I saw it, as early as 5 a.m. They were out closer to North Platte, and it's slow moving, it's slow going, but, I don't think anybody's in a hurry to get this rain over with. I know it's unfortunate it's happening on a Friday, but it looks like it's very close to the capital city, probably western Lancaster County, getting some in terms of light showers, some sprinkles out there right now. But I'm starting to see a little bit of yellow, some orange, so maybe some light to moderate rain moving into the area.
Yeah,
soon.
so mainly just rain. There might be a rumble of thunder kind of.
Saw a few lightning strikes on the SatRad this morning.
Yeah. So, but again, in terms of impacts, just kind of adding to the cloudy, kind of dreary conditions today. Again, not likely a ton of moisture with these. Maybe on the high end, getting a tenth, maybe 0.15 of an inch of moisture. But again, we'll squeeze whatever we can get out of them. Again, we need the moisture. New drought monitor dropped yesterday, and again showed some improvement. But again, still a lot of areas in moderate, severe drought across the state. So,
and hopefully we see more improvement with next week's update, because we'll have days with rain. Just we have to see how much we're going to get, total up by when it's all said and done.
Yeah. So again, scattered showers kind of across south central, moving into southeastern Nebraska. This activity is going to move through as we head through the morning hours. Again, just some light rain, so it's not going to be necessarily too impactful, but some wet roads out there, just something to be mindful of. You zoom out, look at a regional view. Again, overall, things pretty quiet. Carmelo, some showers across the Dakotas, and again here across Nebraska, but not a ton of active weather for us here in the middle part of the country. Kind of active up into New England. They have a kind of late in the season for them, a nor'easter that's kind of moving across the New England area. But otherwise, for the most part, across the country, generally quiet.
Yeah, no, very quiet across the country right now. I mean, not much to talk about, especially off to the southeast. A lot of sunshine out there, but a little bit of cloud cover, a little rainy here in the Midwest today.
So you look at the weather alerts, again, there's not a lot. They got some red flag warnings across parts of Colorado, Utah, but probably the big thing we're going to keep an eye on as we head into the Memorial Day weekend. Not only our rain, but they're expecting a lot of rain down across parts of southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Flood watches in place in those areas. We'll look at it here in just a minute. They could be looking, again, we're talking about some off and on, maybe light rain for the most part here, but they're going to be looking at maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain.
And I'm sure
through
a
the
lot of
holiday
people
weekend.
hear that and they're like, well, I would take that right now just to beat the deficit, but it's not going to absorb. A lot of that's going to run off, so it really doesn't do anything for you. So you need solid 1-inch rainfalls, every 3-4 days. Let the ground, absorb it, soak it in, and then just have it repeat itself. But we just have not seen that so far this year, and it's really unfortunate.
So you check out Skycast again through this morning. Cloudy skies, kind of dreary conditions. Areas of rain will continue to kind of push through the state as we head into this afternoon. Expecting maybe that rainfall to kind of come to an end.
I think so.
We'll watch in the west and southwest Nebraska. You can kind of see some clearing there. That's where we think the best chance for any thunderstorms developing this afternoon is across the southern panhandle into southwestern Nebraska by 10 o'clock tonight. Still cloudy, maybe a spotty shower kind of here or there, but pretty quiet conditions.
I have to say this recent run of our graph model here, it looks a lot better out west than it did this morning. I mean, I almost saw nothing when you played that through out to the west, maybe a few storms off into the panhandle, but I mean, that's a good sign. We don't want the severe weather. We want the heavy rain, but we don't want the severe weather with it. See, it looks more active as we go into the overnight hours off to the southeast, and the slight risk, I'm sure we'll show that in a few minutes, is farther down into Kansas and Oklahoma too. So, but as we head into Saturday morning, another round of rain, especially off to the west.
And then that continues through the day on Saturday. Again, like we said at the beginning, it's not going to be a washout.
No.
The activity is not going to be widespread across the entire state. It is going to be, I'd say, isolated to scattered activity as we head across the state through the weekend. So Saturday afternoon, hit and miss, showers, isolated thunderstorms. Not expecting severe weather through the day on Saturday, though we'll always caution that you can't rule out maybe an isolated strong storm.
A sliver of Dundee County in southwest Nebraska is under the marginal, but I mean, compared to to today, I mean, it's almost nothing.
But it's going to be one of those things where it's really hard to get severe weather when our temperatures are going to be maybe in the 50s to low 60s tomorrow. So, again, 5 o'clock Saturday, again, scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms across the state. That activity looks like it tries to pick up a little bit then as we head into Saturday evening, Saturday night.
It's essentially the flip of today. Today's morning, tapering off into the afternoon. Tomorrow, dry in the morning, and then increasing in coverage afternoon and evening.
So that moves from west to east across the state through Saturday evening and then into the overnight hours Saturday, early Sunday morning. This is, again, where we're talking about some really heavy rain just off to our south and east as we head through the day on into Sunday morning. Again, it's mainly light rain for us in Nebraska, moderate to heavy rain as you head across parts of Kansas into Missouri. And that kind of continues through Sunday morning into the afternoon. Kind of dries it out a little bit, but again, still looking at cloudy skies, really below average temperatures, and we're still looking at some more areas of rain possible across, especially western Nebraska.
It's really northwestern Nebraska that's going to get the bulk of the rain, and they probably need it the most out of anybody, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, those are the areas that have the extreme drought that are in place, but it's unfortunately, Carmelo, it's not just through this weekend. It's as we head through the week. Again, we play out the European model. Again, this is just one model. This is just one model run. Things can always change. But it keeps the weather fairly active for us as we head throughout much of this week with multiple rounds, showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. As we get to your 7-day here in just a moment, you decided to go with the thunderstorm icon every day.
A rain chance every day. I mean, after playing that alone, and that's what I saw across multiple things, how could you not? You can't. You got to show what's out there, and it's not often that we have a 7-day where we have a rain chance every single day, but I think this is when we need it the most before it really begins to heat up in about a month or so.
Mm-hmm. So precip potential, rainfall potential over the next 3 days. So again, this is basically taking us today, Saturday, Sunday. Again, you can see most of the moisture is going to be across northern western Nebraska. Again, half an inch to maybe an inch and a quarter on the high end. A lot of moisture, though, just off to our south and east. Again, south Kansas City. Again, they could be looking at 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 inches of rain by the time it's all said and done. And then moisture over the course of the next week. Again, most of it is going to be to our south and east. But across the entire state, we met next Friday, and we
maybe
look
you're
back,
pushing 2 inches off to the northwest. I'm seeing some purple up there.
Yeah, a lot of the state looking at hopefully around half an inch to an inch, maybe an inch and a half on the high end in parts of northwestern Nebraska.
That
so
would
again,
be fantastic.
That would be that's normal for May.
Yes.
This is kind of a normal amount of
really playing catch up at this point.
Yes, you absolutely are. As far as the severe weather threat, there is a chance today, marginal and slight risk across western and southwestern Nebraska. So again, that means isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms possible. Our primary threats would be wind and hail today, pretty low-end tornado threat, and then obviously you can never rule out maybe some areas of heavy rain with some isolated thunderstorms.
The good news I will say with this is that when I saw the update earlier this morning, it was around, I think, 8 a.m., it definitely shaved off a lot of the severe weather risk. Like, the isolated was as far east as the Tri-Cities. They're not included anymore. The capital city was never included. I found it hard to believe that we ever would be, given the recent models, but still think some severe thunderstorms will develop in the Panhandle, northeastern Colorado, and then they're going to quickly race off to the southeast. So they're not going to be in the state very long. I think it's Kansas and Oklahoma that will be dealing with the bulk of the severe weather activity today.
And then we just don't have the energy.
No.
Me personally, or the atmosphere for this weekend again. So that best energy, again, the instability, one of our 4 main ingredients for severe weather, it's going to be lacking for us across the state as we head into the weekend. So that severe weather risk stays to our south, both for Saturday and into the day on your Sunday. So if we zoom in, Carmelo, take a closer look, statewide view. Again, play it out through the weekend. Cloudy, hit and miss, off and on, showers, isolated thunderstorms. Probably the best bet for the most widespread activity would be as we head into Saturday evening, Saturday night, and then that would continue kind of into early Sunday. But then through the day on Sunday, cloudy, cool, kind of dreary, and then more rain heads our way Sunday night and into the day Monday. So temperature-wise, again, our normal highs are supposed to be upper 70s, close to 80s by now. Pools are supposed to be opening this weekend. The City of Lincoln set out a notice yesterday that if the forecasted temperature is not 70 or higher, pool's not going to open. So you can see pool would not be open today, mid-50s to mid-60s for much of the 10-11 coverage area, some 70s in the west and southwest. Lows tonight aren't bad, upper 40s, low to mid-50s.
It's actually average for
pretty normal.
Yep.
But then highs tomorrow.
I have a 70, I mean, so.
Low 60s to low 70s, but even then, Water in the pool has not had a chance to warm up yet.
No, this better be a heated pool you're jumping into tomorrow.
It better be. Sunday morning, mid-40s to mid-50s. So, again, pretty seasonal. But then Sunday, mid-50s to mid-60s. Into Monday morning, mid-40s to mid-50s. Monday afternoon, Memorial Day itself may not getting out of the 50s for a lot of the state.
Yeah, pretty upsetting when I wrote down 59 this morning. I just, it just doesn't happen really often. It's probably going to be one of the cooler Memorial Days, in history, I'd have to say. I mean, the average high is, almost 20
80
degrees away.
Yeah. I think you said you had looked up the record low high temperature for Monday. It was
56 degrees, so we'll be closing in on that. I don't know how much lower we'll go from 59 because my low temperature is pretty close to that already, but we're just not going to see a lot of movement on Monday with the cloud cover and the rain.
We joked earlier in the week that one of the models, GFS, the American model, had highs like upper 40s, low 50s on Monday.
And that probably sounded ludicrous a week ago.
And
so
now it's like, well, I mean, you're not terribly far away from that.
Right.
So, again, mid-50s to low 60s for highs on Monday. Tuesday morning, mid-40s to low 50s. A few degrees better Tuesday afternoon, but we're still looking at mid to upper 60s. Again, certainly not screaming late May.
This is when
here.
the warming trend starts to begin.
We start to climb back up. So upper 50s Monday, mid 60s Tuesday, low 70s next Wednesday, Thursday. And again, you can see rain chances every day through the next week. Good chance today. Again, good, not great chances this weekend. Another chance Monday, and then still, 5 days away, but 30% for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, it
we'll
looked active.
Watch how those grow or watch how those shrink as we head through the weekend.
Absolutely.
Into early next week. You can really see the warming trend here on the 10-day forecast for select cities across the state. Next 5-6 days below normal, then climbing back to seasonal late next week, and then maybe pushing 90 degrees by June 1st.
What a turnaround. I mean, we saw this turnaround a week and a half ago. We were talking about 90, and now we're talking about 59 Monday and then 88 degrees by June 1st. So
I will say, though, again, with this 10-day, when I showed this on Tuesday and Wednesday, it looked like day 7, 8, 9, 10, the warming trend kind of started. And every day it's kind of been pushed back a day. So that's how that forecast can change, though, on a day-to-day basis. But, again, it does look like it's going to get warmer eventually. Obviously it will.
At some point it has to.
At some point it has to as we head into June. But again, certainly staying a little bit below average. Dew points over the next 10 days look like they'll be fairly reasonable.
Right.
Again, maybe, June 1st, right on time there, meteorological summer.
That would be interesting. And you get a high temperature of 88, your dew points are in the mid-60s now, and you have any instability. You're talking about storm chances.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
potential for severe weather there.
So we have storm chances not only through the 7-day, but now we're talking potentially into the 10-day, which is good. I mean, we need it. So a little bit every day would help.
Yep. Precip chances over the next 10 days. Again, you can see they're going to be highest today through Monday, but then they will persist through much of the week next week into the following weekend. That 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, this takes us May 30th through June 5th. Kind of muddled picture there. Above average temperatures favored for the northern plains and areas to our west. Below average temperatures favored for areas to our south. It looks like that's where maybe the active storm track would be during this period, which, again, they've already seen a very active storm track so far this spring, but looks like that would continue. And then, again, favoring above average precip for areas to our south, to our southwest. Below normal precip for areas to our north and to our northeast. So, not great news necessarily when it comes to the Memorial Day weekend forecast, but it's not going to be a washout, but we are just going to have to deal with some cloudy, cooler conditions.
Our recent holidays, Bill. Easter, same thing, right? I mean, it just was cool. It was rainy.
It was.
So, just 2 in a row that we were just not heading out of the park. But, I mean, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it.
We'll try again.
We'll be okay.
We'll try again for Father's Day. I think that's the next.
That's the next one.
The next big holiday.
Yes.
No, Juneteenth. I think maybe Juneteenth, and then
those are really
Day.
Close together, though.
I think they might be the same week.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, at that point, we're talking about average highs at least in the mid 80s.
Oh yeah.
So
mid 80s.
Warmer.
Hopefully. That's when it's too warm, in my opinion.
And then the humidity. Oh man.
What is your ideal temperature?
Ideal temperature?
If I were to pose the miscongeniality question to you, what is the perfect date?
It's supposed to say the actual date.
Yes.
Perfect temperature. I mean, I think between 70 and even 85. But
okay.
I don't want it to be humid though. Yeah. I like a good day of t-shirt and shorts. Like this past week, I was saying it during the morning show yesterday. The perfect week to just open every window. Oh, yeah. Like no one's AC should be running or heat for the most part. I close them at night. I
might click the heat on this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I did close them, when I went to bed, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to open them before I go to work today. And then when I get home, it won't be, because in the morning it's 44, and I'm like, I don't want that. When I get home, it'll have warmed up a little bit. So 70 to 85, how about you? I mean,
okay. I'm probably in the same range. Brad, I think, Brad always I think he says like 80 to 90 or 80 to 90.
I mean, there's people that love the heat.
Oh, I know.
Really love the summer heat.
I know.
You know?
And I would rather, again, I am always of the mind that you can always put more clothes on, and there's only so many clothes that you can take off.
Yes, that's true.
And even if you're in your birthday suit, it's still going to be horribly hot.
I can tell you that Brandon did not like the week and a half ago temperatures, and when I came in this past week, I was like, "Oh, 7 day. How do you feel about that?" He's like, "Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect." So I know this is his perfect week. It's cool. It's like sweater weather. We talk about this in the fall, but this would be a great weekend for a hoodie, right?
I got a long sleeve on here. I'm comfortable.
It's a great weekend for a hoodie and just sweatpants and stuff like that. So yeah, but warming trend next week, rain throughout the weekend. Like I said, as long as it's not a washout, I think people will be okay.
I agree. All right. Well, appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching again. As always, keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online for all the latest forecast updates, especially through the weekend. Carmela will have you covered again, going live in the noon show on down on UNL's campus.
Going to UNL, first live show. Very excited.
There you go. And then working both Saturday and Sunday.
Yes. I'll be here Memorial Day, too.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So Carmela will have you covered with all the latest updates. So again, make sure to keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online. Until next time, hope everyone has a nice Memorial Day weekend.